High above the pyramids of Mexico, when the morning star rises and the winds sweep across the valley, the Aztecs said a god was moving. His name was Quetzalcoatl, the Feathered Serpent. He was a part bird, part snake, and to millions, the bringer of life, wisdom, and creation. But his story is not just myth, it's history, politics, and power stretched back thousands of years. And welcome to Inktology. My name is Josh, and today we are drawing Quetzalcoatl. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to see more art on mythology and gods. Okay, the story begins long before the Aztecs. The first images of the serpent deity appears with the Olmecs around 900 BCE at La Venta. On Stela 19, a serpent rises behind a shaman-like figure. It's not Quetzalcoatl, but it shows a deep symbolism of serpents in Mesoamerica. By the 1st century CE, the feathered serpent emerges fully in Teotihuacan. Archaeologists uncover the temple of the feathered serpent in the Ciudadela complex, its walls lined with the serpent's heads. Here, Quetzalcoatl wasn't just a god, he was a political emblem of power. From Teotihuacan, his cult spread far across Mesoamerica to the Mayans as Kukulcan, the Quiche as Cucumats, and later the Aztecs, who made him their central pantheon. Now, his name comes from Nahuatl, Quetzal, the brilliant green feathered bird, and Coatl, meaning serpent. So literally feathered serpent, but scholars point out the meaning goes deeper. Feathers represent the heavens and divinity, the serpent, the earth and fertility and rebirth. Quetzalcoatl becomes the ultimate bridge between sky and earth, life and death, and human and divine. Like many ancient gods, his origins were told in multiple ways. Some myths say that he was born of a virgin named Chimalman, who either dreamed of the god Olmecs, swallowed an emerald, or was struck in the womb by an arrow from Mixcoatl. And another tradition links him to Coatlic, the Earth Mother. In Aztec cosmology, Quetzalcoatl was one of the 4 divine brothers, the Tezcatlipocas, each ruling a direction, and he was the white Tezcatlipoca, ruling the west, embodying justice, light, and mercy. His siblings included Huitzilopochtli, god of war, Zipe Totec, god of renewal, and Tezcatlipoca himself, the dark twin of fate and sorcery. But Quetzalcoatl wasn't just a sky god, he was a creator. When the 4th sun collapsed, he journeyed into Mictlan, the underworld, to retrieve the bones of the dead. He bled onto them, cutting his own body, even his tongue, and from that blood humans of the 5th sun were born. But he was also remembered as the one who brought maize to mankind, invented books, calendars, and even became a patron of priests and knowledge. In other words, he gave humans the tools of civilization. So before we move on with Quetzalcoatl, I want to give a little tip and trick on my shading and inking. Now, when you ink and you use a marker to fill in all the blacks, you'll have a first layer of ink if you just do one stroke, and you want to do the strokes in the direction that are contouring the body, or however you feel like would give more depth to it, because what you won't notice is that some of the ending strokes will leave lighter colors. And I'm going in on a second layer with black here, and what that does is it brings out the first layer so it doesn't look so black. And you can see here, you can see the black lines going across the bricks. Whereas before you may not have thought that that was even possible because everything looked black. But once you put the second layer of black lines, the first layer shows up lighter, and that is a cool way to bring out depth. Now back to Quetzalcoatl. And in fact, Quetzalcoatl wasn't just a name for a god, it was a priestly title. And the 2 highest ranking priests of the Templo Mayor in Tenochtitlan was called the Quetzalcoatl Tamacatzqui. His influence was woven directly into Aztec politics and religious life. But Quetzalcoatl, like many other gods, don't always have a happy ending or one that's justified. His story isn't all creation and wisdom. In one myth, his rival, Tezcatlipoca, tricked him into drinking mezcal, and in his shame, since he broke his vows, he built a stone chest and covered himself in turquoise, and then set his body on fire. His ashes rose into the sky, and his heart followed, becoming the morning star, Venus. Let's try that again. Tlahuitzcal Pantecuitli. For all my Spanish-speaking friends, I apologize with all the great gods of the universe. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, now you can see I'm drawing with some drawing gum. I'm putting down little dots for stars, and that allows me to go over top of all of those little dots and not worry about keeping the detail. I can just brush on with a marker and just keep going and, rub it off afterwards. But this is a really good tool for artists, and I highly recommend you get it if you want to do a lot of white, like raindrops or things of that nature. Otherwise, you're doing this with a white marker and trying to cover up mistakes, in which I like Posca's white markers the best. The acrylic paint is fantastic to draw over top. Now, across Mesoamerica, Quetzalcoatl lived many lives. Kukulkan among the Maya, Cucumats in the highlands, Viracocha in the Andes. His temples still stand. The Ciudadela at Teotihuacan, the Great Pyramid at Cholula, and El Castillo at Chichen Itza, where twice a year a serpent of shadow slithers down its steps. To the Aztecs, he was a god of wind, wisdom, and renewal. To history, he is a symbol of continuity, of creation out of sacrifice, and of a god who could fail yet rise again. And maybe the greatest truth about Quetzalcoatl, he wasn't just a god in the heavens, but he was one who walked with the humans, who gave them life, wisdom, and hope. And when the morning star rises, he's still there, the eternal feathered serpent. And if you want to know more about Quetzalcoatl, there's tons of information online, tons of videos and books you should pick up and read. This was just a very, very rough, broad overview of his history and who he is. And as for the drawing, you can see I drew a man pulling off a headdress, looking and gazing off into the galaxies. Now, this was representing a more human aspect of someone playing Quetzalcoatl as maybe some kind of ritual or kind of festival, the kind of things he would be thinking playing a god creator and someone so strong and so worshipped. So yeah, this is my drawing. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, if you're a creative, go create.